Devin, hand my notebook, please. So notebook right there, please. Remind me and I'll dance at your wedding. Right? I will too.
Yeah.
We'll dance at your wedding, son. All right, I want to, as soon as he gets fired up, the name of this today, you know, you have to understand, every service is not alike.
That's right.
And this is the place you come for secure. Now, when we used to do what recovery in the military, after we'd go on the field program and be out for a long time, you come back and do recovery. It takes about 4 or 5 days. Sometimes, depending on what kind of unit you're in, if you're mechanized, it takes longer. You got more equipment, but you're recovering all your equipment. You're the last on the list for recovery, but you do all the equipment recovery so you can be redeployed. Everybody understand that? Mm-hmm. So you got to have a secure place. So this is a secure place you come in to resharpen your swords.
Amen.
Get reissued all your vital things you need: water, food, ammo, everything you need. This is the place you come get resupplied. It's a secure area. Mm-hmm. Okay, it's a secure area. I'm going to talk about some things today. So when I talk about some of these things, I'm going to say first, you're going to think I'm being too political, but it has to do with the message today. The name of the message today is Don't Set Yourself Up. Don't set yourself up. Okay? We're going to work with that. I want to say a few things to you first, to help, maybe more for my family than to you, but I recently, and I'm not trying to push some kind of psychology, but I want to tell you something. I look at a lot of different things, study a lot of things, and psychology has broken down personalities, especially for the males, and I finally found myself about a month and a half ago. It's called a Sigma male. If you never looked that up, go look it up. And I think if my family will look that up, they'll understand me a little better. Called a Sigma male. Okay, there's alpha males, Sigma males. It goes down the list, but I'm a Sigma. It's kind of a weird kind of. You look it up. You take your time, and you'll see a lot of personality traits that I didn't. I finally found myself there, and I said, "Oh, I see now." Okay, but the reason I'm saying that is to say this. One of my personality traits is I am designed and built to always try to bring the best out of somebody. And so one of the things about me is when I know that you're capable of doing more, I'm not satisfied till you're there. I'm not satisfied till you're there. I'm not satisfied with mediocrity. So I think that's a God attribute too.
Yes. Oh, yes.
So there's greatness in people, but you have to know how to motivate them to bring it up to the surface. So I know you're capable of doing great things. So I'm going to talk about, I'm reading today, I'm going to use Ephesians chapter 4, but I want to talk about some things about the church and how we're not careful, we set ourselves up for failure. Now, a lot of people say failure is good because you learn from it. Well, that's true because of our frailties as humans. We should learn from failure, but failure repeated is dumbness.
Sanded.
Okay? That means we didn't learn anything. So we're always to go back over. And not only that, that's why we have something called mentorship. Now, even the church world has adopted this new thing of coaching. So that now we coach people in what we call their life coaches and all of these fancy terms, which is okay if it's done the right way. But what's happened is it's become a source of monetary gain. Yes. Even in churches, they have now where you need a life coach in the church. And don't worry, it'll only cost you $100 a month. That you don't sell the gospel. No. You don't sell the wisdom of God. Now, I know there's places for some of that in the secular realm, but I'm talking about that's one of the things that's happened. It used to be mentorship was a selfless act to impart to someone else the wisdom that you got from God. Yes. That's what it's supposed to be. Yes. So that they can learn without having to make the same mistakes over and over. They look at your mistakes and say, I see, that didn't work for you then, I'm not going to try that. No sense in, why should that, you know? If I tried to ride a horse backwards, I kept sliding off, why would you go get on it backwards? I just want you to kind of, you know, it's we're to be spiritual minded, but we're not supposed to be dummies in our natural mind either. That's right. Okay, so we're going to do some challenging today, and I'm going to mention a couple things to you that are going on. I think it's essential. This is when I said politics. You're going to see what I'm saying in a moment. There's some things going on in the news that are relevant to your prayers, how you're going to pray for the next coming election. Okay, there's some things going on. Now I'm going to say some things to you. It's going to sound harsh. But God may be setting up a new person to be president of this country, not who you think.
Right.
Because some things happened recently that I watched. there was something happened. I'm getting over to Ephesians chapter 4. There was something happened. I think it was North Carolina, South Carolina. Anyway, I brought Mary's attention about 4 or 5 months ago, maybe 3, where a certain ex-president was making a speech, and just this ungodly stuff rolled out of his mouth because he was angry. He said some horrible words. And I'm like, ooh, you don't know what you just did. See, words are powerful. You lost a lot of your force with those bad words. You lost a lot of your force, and you may have also lost your opportunity to be reestablished. So we teach about words here. Words are very powerful. Get your heart right before you open your mouth, because what's coming out of your heart, out of your mouth, what's already in your heart. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So if your heart ain't right, get it right before you open your mouth. Okay, so that's essential. We have to do that. Take the time, get your heart right before you go running off at the mouth, making yourself be something less desirable.
Yes.
I'm trying to find some proper words.
The long way around.
So before you think before you engage the mouth. All right. So see if your heart's right. If your heart's not right, then you need to do something. Now I'm going to say something to you about this ongoing investigation into the Trump administration. I used to carry a security clearance for the Persian missile when I was in nuclear missiles. To be honest with you, nobody should have ever left Washington, D.C. with any secret documents.
Amen.
You made a big mistake.
Yep.
You made a big mistake. You don't do that. I know things that I was sworn to secrecy about from 1980 to 82 that I still will not tell you today. And most of us declassified. I still won't tell you. Nobody come to me and said you have permission to tell. I was told you have no permission to tell. So I'm still not going to tell you. No, I didn't bring home any documentation, I didn't bring any Soviet targets for you to see, because your eyes are not supposed to see that. You don't have a need to know. Right? Okay. I'm going somewhere with this about our lives. Really, it is. This is about our lives. So you be much in prayer about who you're supposed to vote for coming up. Whether it's the Florida governor or whether it's Tom Cruise, what's his name? Not Tom, but Cruz. Senator Cruz.
Yes, sir.
Can't say his first name. Ted. Yeah, Ted.
Yes, sir.
Ted, whom I voted for in the primaries when Trump was running. I didn't vote for Trump till we got to the fall, when they eliminated. So I'm not here to degrade anyone. I want you to understand people make foolish mistakes because they're not listening to the Holy Spirit. I believe the man's saved. I'm talking about the ex-president. But if he's not listening to the Holy Spirit, you make dumb mistakes.
Yeah. Yes.
We're dumb without Jesus.
Yes.
Guiding and directing our speech. That's why I said before you speak, make sure your heart's not being dumb. Make sure you got good stuff in there you're going to say. Temper it. Take time. Okay? Nobody needs you to give them a piece of your mind. You need all you got. Okay?
Amen.
You need all you got. All right. So I want to say this to you that in the coming days there may be some charges passed, because the problem was, why did the Justice Department or the FBI ever permit that to go on? Because apparently, and you don't know what I'm talking about, they did a raid on Trump's house down in Florida this week, and they went in and supposedly he had secret documents and classified documents he wasn't supposed to have, but they had previously agreed he could have it there, almost just under lock and key. Personally, he didn't need any of it. Let me explain something to you. When you're no longer involved in something like that, and you're no longer there, you don't have a need for that anymore.
Right.
So your knowledge for that need is over. Okay? Oh, you understand what I'm saying?
Oh, yes.
Okay. So I just want you to understand, before you get mad at everybody, okay, there were some things that was done wrong. Okay? That shouldn't have happened. And they shouldn't have excused it and said, okay, well, I don't know whether the idea was I'm going to write my what do they call those?
Memoirs.
Memoirs and all that stuff from them, but you had nothing to write if it's secret, or if it's top secret. That's not for you to disclose. See, you have things you don't need to know. One of the things when I was under the nuclear program as a security element for them was the need to know. If you don't have a need to know, it's none of your business.
Right.
See, only people that have some things you don't want to know. You don't need to know. Why do you need? You don't need to know. You don't need to know what the targets are in America. I know what most of them are. I know what the targets are in China. I know what a lot of them are in Russia. But you don't need to know that. Okay? So people that are enclosed into that, like if I was doing security for President Carter, the ex-president, I would know things about his daily habits that you would not have no need to know.
Right.
I would know how many times he goes to the bathroom, how much water he drinks at night. I would know everything. That's my job, man. Excuse me, that's my job. So I would know. You follow me? You would need to know. Why would you need to know how many times he goes to the bathroom at night? You don't need to know that. But I would, because I'm his security. Where he goes, I go.
Amen.
When he does, I do. That's what you attach yourself to, okay? It's another way of thinking, I understand that, but I want you to know that for the days ahead, because some silly mistakes have been made. Here's what I'm saying to you. Don't set yourself up for Satan to attack you.
Yes.
Do not set yourself up, well, open doors for him. Do not set yourself up. Use wisdom. We have the wisdom of God. Remember, we know from 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 30, God hath made Christ unto us wisdom first, then righteousness, sanctification, and redemption. They are all ours. We're saints of the Most High God. The part of Satan's job is, his name is Satan, or Satan. He means the seducer, but also he is the accuser. So he is the accuser of the brethren and sisters. So he's always looking to find something to make an accusation about you about. So if you leave areas where he's got some room to operate, whose fault is that?
That's right.
It's our fault.
Yes, sir.
See? So if we leave room for him to operate in our lives, we don't shut the doors, we don't keep that, then he's got something to use against us.
Yes.
He actually does this by, according to Revelation chapter 12, he's looking up to heaven, accusing the brethren constantly. He's accusing you all the time before God. And what he does is, you see your sister, you see your boy, you see your girl, they said they're sick. All right, then I'll give it to them. They can have what they say. Mark 11:23, well, I'll give it to them. They say they're broke, well, that's my job. I'll keep them busting. They say they're in this, instead of saying what God says. But when you say what God says, he has no room for accusation. The Word said, I'm healed, therefore I'm healed. Don't care how I feel. Body, you come in line with the Word. The Word said you're healed. You are healed, body. You are blessed. I'm a tither, I'm a giver. I give, I love God. We have abundance and no lack. We have John 10:10. Yep. For the thief came to steal, kill, and destroy. But Jesus said, I'm come that you might have no life, God kind of life, have it more abundantly to the full that overflows. That's what that means. So I have a full overflowing life. But that has to be in your heart. You speak it. But if you speak the opposite, Satan is waiting on your words to use them against you. That's why I'm using this example today. It's a sad note for me to have to stand here and tell you that probably somebody lost their footing, or they won't be, because those are critical errors. This should never have happened. Can I be honest with you? Yes. If I'd have been on guard when he was packing the stuff to leave, he wouldn't have left with that. Huh? Not if I was charged to make sure those items were secure. He wouldn't have left with them. What am I saying to you? I'm saying that's how serious things are. See, you're on guard. Who's in charge of your heart? You. You. So that's why Proverbs says that we're to guard our hearts, for out of it are the issues of life. Proverbs chapter 4, verse 18, I think it is. But anyway, Proverbs, maybe 24, but anyways, Proverbs chapter 4, latter part, says out of our heart is the issues of life. Our life-giving force comes out of our hearts. Especially as Christians. We have life-giving force. So we're either speaking death or we're speaking life.
That's right.
See? So we speak life over our family. We don't speak death. See? That's why I said, now I do have I have personality hang-ups like you, and I'm in the process of being changed every day. But I want you to know that one of my attributes of myself is I look inside you and I see greatness, and it just tears me up that it's not on the surface being exposed. If I know you're able to do better than what you're doing, I have to be careful not to get physical to give you
Roger that, yeah.
because it's in there. Its greatness is in you. How do I know? Jesus lives in you.
Yes.
Jesus lives in you. You have the Spirit of God in you. You have the wisdom of God in you that created all things. You just hadn't tapped in yet.
That's right.
That you can do all things through Christ, which strengtheneth you.
Yes.
That's done by abiding in Christ. There's no job, no thing, no chemical formula, no thing that you cannot master without turning to the mind of Christ. If you turn to the mind of Christ, you have the ability to master it. You listening?
Oh, yeah.
That stuff when you say, not me, I can't. No, you're right, you can't. Henry Ford got that right
Yes, he did.
when he said, if a man thinks he can, he can. If he thinks he can't, he can't.
That's right.
I don't know about you, when I growed up, my mother always told us, can't never could do nothing. Can't
Well said.
never could do nothing.
Yep.
So what happened to the little engine that can? I can. Y'all know the story of the little engine. I know the younger folks don't know that story. But see, you have the Spirit of God in you. You can do all things through Christ, which strengthens you. You can do all things. Say it again. You can do all things through Christ, which strengthens you.
Christ
You
will
listening?
strengthen us. Yes.
Okay, Lord, I'll tell that. See, one time I was working at Force Comp, and my general, my commander was the Lieutenant Colonel. He had the Joint Chief of Staff came down to do a briefing, okay, for the whole military forces, all five, and they had a big dilemma at the officers' club. The general's briefcase was there. It was locked up, and they had to get all his speech and everything ready to go. Everything has to be all protocol laid out. So when the general stepped up to talk to all these senior officers, 22 generals, by the way, he's the senior 4-star of all the military branches, he has his stuff already ready when he gets there. And he just walks up, man, you know. All right, well, they couldn't get in it. They were spazzing out. So somebody called me, the colonel had somebody call me and says, call Sergeant Dominy. So he did. I don't know, I think that's how it happened. I can't exactly remember. It's been a lot of years ago, like 1984. So I ended up over there, and I went over there and I said, is that it? They said, yeah. I said, let me see it. So I humbled myself a little prayer, myself and God. I said, Lord, I got to get in this thing. You got to help me. And he had a top security briefcase. I guess it was. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't top security. So I just picked that bad boy up and I played with it till I heard the tumblers fall, and then I opened it up and said, pop. I said, there you go. They said, oh, wow. They was, oh man, they was having a tizzy because I opened that thing up. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Okay. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. You understand that? I want you to see that. See? You said that ain't no big, it was a big deal to them.
Yes.
Trust me. Okay? So, but guess what? Did anybody else know about it? Did the general know about it? Did the force? No, he didn't know who done it. He just knew it was ready when he got there. But guess who does know? God knows.
That's right.
He knows who done it.